Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Hope you had a great weekend and also hope you're having a good Monday so far. For Bitcoin, sadly, that is not the case. You see, we've broken the barrier of the $38,000 or $38,500 here. And I mentioned that, this previous low here, that it would be best for Bitcoin not to fall under it. I mentioned this yesterday in the live stream, so thank you so much for those of you who were there yesterday. It was really cool. But in any case, right now, $38,000 is the line that has to hold. If we do remain above it, then in quotation marks, everything is fine. If not, then we can definitely expect that Bitcoin will continue to fall rapidly and maybe even in the worst case scenario go all the way down to $33,000. At which point I think that should provide a bounce to the price of Bitcoin. But again, this area here, we're giving the bears another opportunity to drive the price lower. And if we do take out these previous lows here that we had in March and at the beginning of April, then things get really, really dangerous for Bitcoin. So important here is, again, that if we do drop, hopefully a lot of people come in, buy the price, and then that gives us a bounce, a quick bounce as well. On the 1 hour chart, you see we have all of the EMA lines are above us. We haven't been able to have a stable closing above any of them in the last few hours. Important here is that we find power somehow to quickly change that around. But even today is another important day, and the whole week is a very important week for the prices of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, because all of the big tech companies of the S&Ps are going to be releasing their numbers for this quarter. Apple, Microsoft, Facebook, and so on. They'll be releasing their numbers for the entire week, and it's about 180 something companies in total, which make up for 50% of the S&P. So that means if the numbers are bad, then of course the S&P are going to start falling. The traditional markets will fall, and that of course means cryptocurrencies will also fall. So we have to pay attention and see what happens this week with these companies and see how that is going to affect the price and the movement for the cryptocurrencies as well. So just be ready for some volatility as we move throughout this week. On the 30-minute chart, we also see this very much in detail. EMA lines rejecting the price, pushing us closer to our resistance line over here, or not resistance, sorry, the support line, which comes from this uptrend line on the weekly chart. So over here, it's very, very important that this line remains untouched, or if we do touch it, of course, that we bounce from there and that we don't break any, don't have a close below this line. On the smaller time frames, of course, we could say, well, we already did break through an uptrend line over here. If we draw this line, you can see that we already have several touch points here, and we can count them. We can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we had a fake out, and then now finally an actual fall through this line, even with a retest. So that is on the smaller time frames. Here, of course, in the longer time frames, we shouldn't go any lower than these two previous lows that we had here, and that means at around $37,000 at the very latest, we should then bounce from that. So hopefully, again, that is the case, and if we do that, then we do have again this other uptrend line over here. But again, $37,300 give or take is the latest that Bitcoin from which Bitcoin has to bounce from. So another important thing here on the financial calendar, again mentioning what is going to happen this week with the tech firms And also, this is a graph that I showed my followers yesterday in the live stream, and I wanted to mention it to you guys. Of course, here you can see that regardless of where you trade, more people are going short than long at the moment. That of course means that eventually there could be a short squeeze coming up. And of course, the question is, we don't know when that happens. It could be today, it could be tomorrow, it could be this week, it could be in 2 weeks, it could be in a month or a couple of months. Nobody really knows. But that, of course, is a possibility because, again, more people are feeling bearish at the moment than they are feeling bullish. And that it presents an opportunity for the market makers, of course, to take all of that sentiment and take all of those positions, the short positions, and kill them so they can bring in more cash flow or more capital to the markets and to their pockets. Also, let's go and have a look at the dollar index chart here. This is on the weekly, where you see every time that we touch this resistance line here at the top, the red line, there is a rejection, which by contrast, every time that there's this rejection in the dollar index, then there is of course, there's a fall in the price, but for Bitcoin, it represents a parabolic run up in the price. So now here, and this is the big point to make here, is that I personally do not think that this time when we come over here that we're going to get rejected, but rather that we'll continue to rise in the dollar index for a little bit more. And for that, we can, of course, go over here and look at our own dollar index graphic. And so let's go ahead and bring that up real quick here. And you can see we're exactly here touching this resistance line of it at the top of our graphic. And again, here, my opinion is that because of everything that is happening right now with the economy, with inflation, and all these different factors that you already know, we might come into this yellow box up here, and we might, and from here, and we're talking about 2.5% potential for growth here, that from here, from this box, then that's when we actually see rejection, and not from our white resistance line on the screen. And so if it falls, then for like 3 months or something, then that could of course bring another push for Bitcoin to pick up and then go higher in prices. Also, please let me know in the comments below what you think regarding this subject specifically, or really anything that you might have a question or comment on. Feel free to do that as well. And I appreciate it every time that you subscribe to the channel. If you haven't, I would appreciate that you do. I appreciate every time that you hit the like button. That really helps us a lot. But in any case, I'd be very interested to hear from you guys what you have to think regarding this subject. And now let's go over here and look at Ethereum. Here, of course, things are also very interesting, one can say. Right now we are trading above or below, our very important $3,000 price level. And I mentioned this in the live stream and in previous videos. $2,815 is the next point of support, and that's exactly where we are trading at the moment. I even mentioned that we had this consolidation here yesterday in the 4-hour chart, and we broke through this important low here, and again we find ourselves right now trying to push through the $2,815 level. So if you did open a short position here when you were watching the live stream, then congratulations to you. It was about 5.6% trade profit, so congratulations again. And then from here, if the level doesn't hold, then that could bring us down, and we can look at the BPVR indicator here. We can come back down to this cluster over here, which is between $2,600, 640 rather, and then 2,500 more or less, which is this consolidation phase here. If the consolidation phase doesn't hold, then the next stop would be around $2,000 or $2,300. And then the next worst case scenario level would be $2,162. So be very, very careful, especially pay attention to what Bitcoin does here. Then on the Bitcoin dominance, we can see here on the daily chart, we continue to trade sideways, or we continue to move sideways rather. And that of course means that currently, and this is exactly the point that I've keep bringing up, and that is that the altcoins is not an altcoin season. I mean, we have here many of them losing 6%, 5%, 7%, 4%. So right now it doesn't matter which cryptocurrency you're holding here, if you hold in Luna or Cardano or XRP, whatever support they may have, it doesn't matter, because Bitcoin drags them all down when Bitcoin falls. So keep that in mind, of course, right now for the whole portfolio, and this is not financial advice, but for the whole portfolio, of course, every time the price falls, that's a good opportunity to invest. And if you do happen to do leverage trading, then I would recommend just using very, very little leverage. And, as long as you find your, profit, then take it out and close the position. That's just my opinion. In any case, be very, very careful here. And that is everything that I have prepared for you guys today. Of course, if you're interested in this, looking at the index situation, the name for that here is DXY, in case you want to check it out yourself. And that's it. Thank you again for your support. If you haven't, make sure you subscribe to the channel. It is completely free, and hit the like button, hit the notification bell. Until then, bye bye.